Hey guys, namaste. This video is especially for teachers out randomly watching in YouTube. So my name is Kala, and I just wanted to share some stuff that had been coming up for me, and so this would really be applicable to teachers, whether high school teachers or college teachers, and some of the difficulties that we go through in terms of being educators. Some common issues that happen. So it's funny because as I get dressed to shoot a video, I put on my something that might look okay on camera, whatever, as opposed to something super casual. And it's funny because this little blazer, which is actually a little tight on me now, was what I used to wear when I was teaching. When I was teaching at the college level, and this necklace was also given to me by a friend who was a colleague when I was teaching. So it's interesting that I went in and just grabbed things that relate to back when I was teaching. So I just want to share for all of you teachers, just that I know how difficult teaching can be, and I'm talking not, dealing with your students and educating them. What I am interested in is more in terms of being in academia and colleagues, if you're at the college level or high school level. I have friends who, I was teaching at the college level, and I have friends who taught at the high school level, and a lot of what we were going through was very, very similar. So a lot of stress around your performance. And again, just like any other job, but there are specifics to teaching and to the type of person that goes into teaching, and what we want to achieve as teachers. We want to help. It's different than some other professions, that have similar pressures. So the last time I talked about this in depth was quite a few years ago, and I put a link to the video below, and I talk about not allowing yourself to feel like a victim if you are having difficulty at work in the education setting, like I did. I ended up leaving academia and really going back to more what I do now, just related to spirituality and holistic fields and wellness, and that really was where my heart is. I was teaching art, which I also love, and different phases of my life, and I'm sure some of you have experienced this, you're interested in things more. I do believe that as an artist, I'll say this, you're always creative, so I don't think that you stop being an artist. So in my case, that's my subject. But I know that, if you are, for instance, going through the tenure process, that can be very, very difficult. I think it is often more difficult for women, and also sometimes women of color have some additional things can come up. So just speaking more to the females out there who are more my audience, when I look at my statistics, it's women primarily, and about a quarter men. But this video just addressing, if you are an academic and how to cope with some of the stuff that you go through. Just sharing my personal experience. To be honest with you, at the time I really wasn't able to do, right when I was going through like the tenure battle and dealing with being bullied and these sort of uncomfortable situations, it was hard to keep up any sort of practice that would support me, any sort of self-love practice. And that's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit. And not to be too woo-woo, but I hope that, if you're watching my channel and watching this, you'll realize, especially if you're going through like a literal tenure battle, and again, whether it's high school, because I know they have a process as well. I had a dear friend who would always tell me about her high school things going on, and she had a lot as well with disciplining the students and feeling unsupported by the administration, that type of thing at the high school level. So there's a lot of similarities there. What I found that I know now would have helped, that I wasn't able to do, and so I'll just put that out to you. I wasn't really able to keep up a yoga practice. For those of you who do yoga, or even if you don't, I think that as academics, we often are so mental and so mind-driven and so rational, even in the arts, and to be a professor, you're going to tend to be a driven sort of person, but in a certain way, about your intellect, obviously, and your subject matter. So I just want to invite you to, if you're having difficulty in academia, start focusing on your self-care. And one of them is easily, and if you are in academia, you can afford to take a yoga class at least once a week, and then, do some practices at home. Again, using that intellect that we have to, whether it's get a series of, DVDs, or not even DVDs anymore, really join their various channels where you can subscribe to yoga classes, okay? Excuse me. That's something that I know would have helped me a lot. And even though my background at the time was that I was a yoga teacher prior to getting my academic job, as I think back on it, it was really hard for me to do much yoga. I did some, but I didn't tailor it to the stress I was dealing with. And so there are two approaches with yoga for dealing with stress. There is the very physical type of class, very like vinyasa, which means flowing. And so that might be great for you if you are more an athletic type and you feel very, very stressed and you want like a workout. But what I would tend to recommend, like if I were working with you and advising you, I would say look for a yoga that's a little bit more gentle. And if like some academics, you're not super physical, go for a more gentle yoga, and that's going to help to bring down your stress level, especially if you have to do a presentation, give a talk, and certainly through the tenure process and the meetings and so on. If you can, a quick tip is actually do yoga as close to the stressful time as you can. So, for instance, if you know you're going to have a difficult meeting with your colleagues in the morning, which seems like they were always in the morning, and I'm not a morning person, but do your yoga in the morning. Do anything that you can think of yoga-wise. You don't have to be a yoga expert, as I said. Just get some materials, join an online, like yoga club or a website where you can literally pick different, yoga for beginners, yoga for back care. You can pick anything like that and just watch it, do a routine, and then go into your meeting. I wish I had done more of that. I also was not able to keep up my meditation practice. What I would do was go on retreats. So I wouldn't have as regular meditation practice, but I would then, like during breaks or summer, go on like a longer meditation retreat. Super helpful. I would come back feeling really, sane again, calm, centered, and but it would have been much better if I had been able to meditate daily, maybe just 10 minutes or a couple times a week, to have that base. So I recommend for you, my colleagues, if you're still in academia, get a meditation practice and try to have it be a regular part of your day. Again, because the self-care is going to be crucial as you go through tenure, as you go through difficult meetings, with colleagues and trying to figure out what you need to do to get tenure, and so on. So yoga and meditation, and as I said, before any difficult encounter, if you know it's coming, do the yoga that you can, or do your mindfulness meditation, which is the type that I teach. Do that. Even 10 minutes before you go out, have a meeting with your colleagues is going to make you so much calmer. So I just want to, with this video, recommend, to my fellow academics, like don't put off the self-care. And I've known others in very similar situations where what happens in academia for them is that they get a chronic illness, okay? And, the mind wants to say, oh, that's totally separate. I haven't found that to be so, as I think of the women that I know where that's become an issue, where their health has really been challenged. They've been under tremendous stress, and sometimes an autoimmune illness, which of course, just spiritually, when you're feeling very, very pressured, you're trying to meet expectations, feeling very judged, unsupported, the body can start to break down. So I've known that to happen to folks in the past in academia. So I just want to urge you that the self-care is important. It's beyond, taking a soaking bath. You need things that are that really, taking a bath with essential oils is great and just relaxing, but meditation and yoga are two tools that are now, scientifically proven. And certainly as academics, we're very much into evidence and, proof. And so there's definitely strong evidence now, scientific evidence, and thousands of years of practice with meditation in cultures around the world to show its efficacy. So I wish I had done more of those, and as I speak to some of you who, may really be going through stuff now, I hear you and I understand you that sometimes we just focus on doing better. So if you're going through difficulties in your career, you tend to focus on it more, and that's also what I did. You tend to, okay, well, I'm going to put in more hours. I'm going to do more research. I'm going to do more work and more output instead of taking time for, vacations, for rest, right? I wasn't sleeping particularly well during this whole period of time, and we're talking several years as things deteriorated for me in terms of academia, and I'm sure for you, like one good friend I'm thinking of, there are different medications. Oh, I need a medication for sleep. Oh, I need a medication for anxiety. Who knows without the stress where you would be, what level. Maybe you would be a little anxious, right? We all have different sort of innate levels of anxious reaction. And yet if you're in a job where you feel really unsupported and, you're trying to work and educate, high school kids, teenagers, young adults, and so on, and you're getting this other pressure, that's going to exacerbate any anxiety that, your sort of baseline anxiety. So along with any medication, if that's the right, route for you, I just really encourage you to think about self-care practices like yoga. And as I said, if you're in academia, you do have enough money to take a yoga class. I did. Since I was a certified yoga teacher, when I would do it, I would practice at home. Emphasize the relaxing aspect, as I said, unless you know that you are very physical. And like if you're a runner, running is great also, but then maybe, you might like a more physical type of yoga. So see what works for you, and mindfulness meditation. If you'd like more information on either of these and just ways to cope going through academia, if that is your career path, or whether you're perhaps even choosing whether you want to stay in academia. I've talked to many people in various places in the U.S. who some know their dream is to be an academic, and others are like, I'm flexible. I think that I could also work in industry. It doesn't have to be academia. So I would love to chat with you if you'd like to. There's information below. Sometimes I open up some sessions where we can do a phone call and just talk with you about what you're going through and different ways that you might be able to sort of process and stay on an even keel and ride the academic wave, the up and down. So again, my name is Kala Viv Williams, and I would love to connect with you, especially if you feel that you might want to work with me and get any mentoring on getting through a difficult process. So namaste. Namaste means the divine within me honors the divine within you. And you don't have to be very into woo-woo. I'll give you the practices and teach them in such a way that you can really incorporate them into your daily life. Okay? Namaste. Be well. Bye-bye.